For example, if you share a business idea with somebody or a new partnership with somebody and they're like, well, have you looked at this, or have you looked at this, and what if this is a scam, right? You will immediately feel like your brain will tell you, oh, they don't support me. And that causes anger and resentment and all sorts of negative emotions. Welcome to the Life and Business Podcast. I'm your host, Sue Bravo. And today we're going to be talking all about support. Whether you are lacking support or getting a lot of support, or you are just looking for any kind of support from friends and families. The first question that I want to dive into is, who is supposed to be supporting you in your life or in your business? And oftentimes what I actually get from my clients is, this person is not supporting me, my friends or my family are not supporting me, and I just wish that they would support me. And so the first question is, who is responsible for supporting you in your life dreams, in your business goals? And that person, the only person actually, is yourself. It's nobody else's responsibility to support you in your goals and your dreams. It would be nice if our friends and family would support us. It's the kind thing to do. We can even say like that's the right thing to do for them to support us in our, dreams and our goals. But when it comes down to whose responsibility is it to support us in our goals and in our dreams, the only person that is responsible for supporting you is you. And nobody else in the entire world is going to support your goals and dreams more than you do. And hopefully, again, you have friends and family that are supporting you, but more often than not, people don't have friends and family to support them on their dreams, especially entrepreneurship. Society has conditioned us to kind of just take the safe route. And so if you're in a 9 to 5 and you want to start this business, or if your business is failing and you're like, hey, I want to keep pushing through, everybody around you, like we talk about all the time, is like our brains are wired to avoid pain and seek pleasure as conveniently as possible. And so our friends and family, like they're trying to help you avoid pain. They're in their brain, they're like, I would never want to experience that kind of pain or uncomfortableness or discomfort, right? And so they're also just trying to prevent you from feeling that discomfort. I have clients all the time who are trying to make these business decisions, and their spouses will tell them like, hey, don't do this thing. Like, you could just not do this. You could just not have a business because I can just provide for us. But they're like, no, but I want to do this business. And so again, our friends and our families, people who mean so well, it's not that they're trying not to support you, but it's just that's their way of supporting you, is helping you see all of the pain and discomfort that will come with the decisions that you make, with you trying to pursue these goals and their dreams. But all in all, I want to start this conversation by saying that you are the only person that is responsible for supporting yourself. Now, again, people can be kind and nice and support you in your dreams and goals and ask questions that will support you instead of bringing you down. But again, we don't have control over anybody else's actions. And so the only thing that we can be in control of is our own support for our own selves. And so this comes down to also like when our friends and our families and our colleagues say things to us that are not supportive in our business, we get to decide, do I want to receive all of the unsupport or the lack of support from them and then just continue to live my day-to-day life? Or do I want to block that out and say, you know what, it's okay if they don't support me. I'm going to support myself, and I'm going to still take actions, and I'm going to still pursue my dreams and pursue my callings. You have to take responsibility for making that decision, and you have to take responsibility in supporting your own goals and dreams first before anybody else could ever do that for you. This next question that I get often is, how do I get people to support me? And again, you don't have control over that. You don't get to make people support you. What I have found, here's like a super practical thing, is if you want to share something with somebody, then you can just say, hey, I have some great news, like maybe some news in my business or my life that I want to share with you. And I would just love your support. If you have anything negative to say, I would actually appreciate if you didn't share that with me, right? And so that's one practical way to say that. But also, I want you to think about when you have shared amazing news with these people in the past, right? Or if you have shared an idea, even just an idea with these people in the past, what has their response been, right? It's so funny, like we as adults will continue to do the same thing again and again and again, even though we know what the result is, and we just hope that it's going to be a different result. And this happens a lot with my friends, my families, and my clients, where they will continue to share amazing things and amazing ideas with people in their lives, close people in their lives that don't support them ever. you just know that they will always say something negative, but we continue to go and share these things with these people who we already know are going to share negative things. And so maybe that's the first thing you want to do, is ask yourself, do I want to share this idea with this person, right? And you can answer that question of, is it yes or no based off of, is this person going to support me? Is this person going to share anything that is going to help me on this journey? Because you can have friends and family that say, hey, that's actually a bad idea and here's why. And that is still supportive because they are trying to help you see from a different lens if you're asking them for advice, right? But if you just have friends and family that say, that's a dumb idea, don't do that, who do you think you are? Like, if you already know that they're going to say these kinds of things, then maybe don't share that with them. Again, you have responsibility for your dreams, and that also means you have responsibility in protecting like your mental and emotional well-being. And an example of this for myself is, when I decided I was going to do this podcast, I only shared with a very, very small handful of people, because for me personally, I don't see a podcast as something big or grand. I feel like everybody has a podcast. I feel like it's no big deal, but I know that my inner circle, like, they all think that having a podcast is a big deal. They think that having a podcast means that you are somebody or something. And for me, I'm like, having a podcast is no big deal. I could record this in my closet, hit publish, and be done, and now I have a podcast. And so I knew that if I shared this with I'm not going to say the wrong people, but with the people who are not going to be supportive, with people who are going to have lots of questions because they question their own life and business decisions, then I knew that it was going to bring me down. And I knew that starting this podcast was not for myself. It was because I felt called to. It was because I know that I'm supposed to be making this different kind of impact. And so I knew that because it wasn't a decision that I was just making for myself and it was for such a bigger impact, I knew that there was also a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of unanswered questions that I'm in that fog analogy of like, I just know that I'm supposed to take one step here. I don't know anything else. But here's what our friends and families will do. They'll be like, what's the next step? And the next one, and the next one. And I'm like, I don't even know yet. I don't know what the next steps are. And when they start asking all of these questions, it makes us doubt even the next step. And so I want you guys just to think about that of like, if you don't even know what the next step is, and everybody else is asking you what the next step is, how is that going to make you feel, right? Is that going to make you doubt your decision? Is that going to make you doubt your steps and your callings and the road that you're supposed to take? And so I just want you to be so careful with who are you, one, telling your dreams and goals to, and then also two, take a look at who you're surrounding yourself with, right? I have decided like I only want to be surrounded by the people who are going to be actively supporting my goals and my dreams. I don't really have any mental capacity to be around people who are questioning those big goals and big dreams. For example, I just don't hang out with the people who are like, how are you going to make $1 million? Or how are you going to launch this podcast? Or again, like, how is this going to happen? It's like, I don't really focus on the how. I just focus on what am I doing and who am I impacting? And I feel like the how, just like, that's the road in the fog that just begins to appear. Is like, I'm so focused on like that one lighthouse, that's the one person that I'm going to make an impact, the lighthouse in the fog. And I just know if I just take one step closer and closer to that lighthouse, I get to reach that person. I get to make that impact. Hey friends, if you want to create more wealth, impact, and freedom in your life as an entrepreneur, I invite you to join me inside of my private coaching program where I teach you how to make a bigger impact in your business, but then also be fully present in your life. You can check the show notes or descriptions wherever you're listening or watching to this podcast to book your free consultation today. And so again, when you guys are thinking about the lack of support that you're getting, I want you to just ask yourself, like, do I want their support? Okay, this person who's not supporting me in the first place, or do I just want to follow my dreams and make this impact on the world around me? And you have to get so honest with yourself, because some people are willing to choose the support from people who don't support them over making impact. They're willing to make a decision in their life or their business to do something that they don't even want to do just because they have their friends and family support. I think about a lot of my friends who are not business owners, but who want to be business owners, who are in 9-to-5 careers, and they are willing to be in these careers because they have their family's support. Their family's like, yes, you should do this engineering job. Yes, you should be this doctor. Yes, you should be this nurse, right? So they're getting that support and they value the support from their family in a career that they might not even like over, I would rather pursue my dreams and my passions and not have my family's support, right? And again, in a perfect world, it would be amazing to have our friends and a family rally up around us and be like, you want to be a nurse? Do it. You want to be a doctor? Do it. You want to be an entrepreneur? Do it. But that's just not the reality. Like, society has just conditioned every culture and every person to believe that success means X, Y, Z. And so again, the hard decision that you're going to have to make, if you are not getting support, you're going to have to decide, is this the thing that I want to pursue? Is this passion what I want to pursue? And this thing that I want to pursue, is it more important than getting support from people who don't even support me in my life, dreams, or my goals? And this last thing I want to end with is that everybody shows support in different ways. And the sooner you can accept that, the sooner you can begin to support yourself, whether that is to follow your dreams or to take some mental breaks or to just like live a healthy life, right? Nobody is going to support you and or they're going to support you in the ways that they know best. And so how I was talking about like friends and families, they will often like ask these million different questions because their brain is trying to relieve the pain or the discomfort and the uncertainty. And so sometimes our friends and family support looks like, let me question every single thing so that I can make sure that Sue has taken a look at every single possible scenario that could go wrong, right? And that's their way of support. And so when you are sharing something with a friend or a family and they're saying something to you, I want you to just be so compassionate. That's the word that I would say. I want you to be so compassionate as to how are they expressing support. And if you don't like that kind of support, I encourage you to voice that and say, hey, that's actually not really helpful or supportive, and kind of end that conversation there. But I want you to think about whatever they are saying to you is really just a projection of what they're feeling internally. And so that's why I say like that word compassion is so important, because somebody is questioning everything that you're doing in your life or business. They're probably also questioning what they're doing in their life and business. And so you want to step into that space of just being compassionate about them so that you're not full of resentment and anger. Because if we are compassionate, it's hard to feel resentful and anger towards that person. For example, if you share a business idea with somebody or a new partnership with somebody, right? And they're like, well, have you looked at this? Or have you looked at this? And what if this is a scam, right? You will immediately feel like your brain will tell you, oh, they don't support me. And that causes anger and resentment and all sorts of negative emotions. But if we, instead of thinking this person doesn't support me, instead we say, oh, wow, I wonder where they are questioning their life. I wonder if they have ever been scammed before, right? I wonder if they have ever taken a risk and then it didn't end up how they wanted it to. And so again, when we are so filled with compassion towards whatever they are projecting, whatever questions they are asking, it's easier for us to not feel the anger and resentment. And if we are full of compassion, we can step into continuing to provide support for ourselves in the ways that we need it most, because now we don't need the support from that person. We just feel so much compassion for them instead. If you have found value in this episode, I'd love for you to consider leaving a review and sharing with your friends and family, and we'll see you on the next episode.